Today is day 6 for the Come Follow Me study for this week, June 29th through July 5th. If the Lord be God, follow him. 1 Kings 12 to 13 and 17 to 22. Saturday, July 4th, 2026, 1 Kings 20 through 22. These chapters detail two separate battles between Israel and Syria. Israel won the first battle but lost the second. 1 Kings 20. Ben-Hadad of Syria makes war with Israel. 1 Kings 20, 1 through 11. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Assyria, gathered all his host together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Samaria, and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine, and all that I have. And the messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine or their eyes, they shall put it in their hand, and take it away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land, and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief. For he sent unto me for my wives, and for my children, and for my silver, and for my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent. Wherefore he said unto the messengers of Ben-Hadad, Tell my lord the king all that thou didst send, for to thy servant at the first I will do, but this thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. And Ben-Hadad sent unto him and said, The gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Israel answered and said, Tell him, Let not him that girdeth on his harness or armor boast himself as he that putteth it off. This is like saying, Don't boast of the deed until it is done. The imagery comes from the harnessing of work animals. It would be easy for an ox to boast of how much he can plow while he is being harnessed in the morning. But the boast would be meaningful only after the work is done, that is, when the harness is taken off. 1 Kings 20:12. And it came to pass, when Ben-Hadad heard this message, as he was drinking, he and the kings in the pavilions, or in Hebrew, booths or shelters, that he said unto his servants, Set yourselves in array, and they set themselves in array against the city. The Syrians are defeated twice. 1 Kings 20:13 to 23. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, By whom? And he said, Thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces. Then he said, Who shall order the battle? And he answered, Thou. Then he numbered or mustered the young men of the princes of the provinces, and they were 232. And after them he numbered all the people, even all the children of Israel, being 7,000. And they went out at noon. But Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions or the booths or shelters, he and the kings, the 32 kings that helped him. And the young men of the princes of the provinces went out first, and Ben-Hadad sent out, and they told him, saying, There are men come out of Samaria. And he said, Whether they be come out for peace, take them alive, or whether they be come out for war, take them alive. So these young men of the princes of the provinces came out of the city, and the army which followed them. And they slew every one his man, and the Syrians fled. And Israel pursued them, and Ben-Hadad the king of Syria escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots, and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel, and said unto him, Go, strengthen thyself, and mark, and see what thou doest, or thou shouldest do. For at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee. And the servants of the king of Assyria, no, and the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills, therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. In many ancient cultures, people believed that a god's power was limited to a specific nation, geographical feature, or area. The Syrians may have believed that the Lord's power was limited to the hills and mountains because he had visited the Israelites at Sinai. This motivated them to move the fight to the valleys so they could win the battle. Despite the Syrians' belief, the scriptures make it clear that Jehovah is God over all the earth. 1 Kings 20:24-28. And do this thing, take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their rooms. And number thee an army, like the army that thou hast lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot. And we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice, and did so. And it came to pass at the return of the year that Benhadad numbered the Syrians, and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. And the children of Israel were numbered, and were all present, or in Hebrew were supplied with food, and went against them. And the children of Israel pitched before them like two little flocks of kids. But the Syrians fled the country. And there came a man of God, and spake unto the king of Israel, and said, Thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, The Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys, therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. There seems to be an allusion here to the opinion prevalent among all heathen nations that the different parts of the earth had different divinities. They had gods for the woods, for the mountains, for the seas, for the heavens, and for the lower regions. The Syrians seem to have received the impression that Jehovah was specially the God of the mountains, but he manifested to them that he ruled everywhere. 1 Kings 20:29-34. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days. And so it was, that in the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew of the Syrians 100,000 footmen in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. And Benhadad fled, and came into the city, into the inner chamber. And his servants said unto him, Behold now, we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us, I pray thee, put sackcloth on our loins, and ropes upon our heads, and go out to the king of Israel. Peradventure he will save thy life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins, and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Israel, and said, Thy servant Benhadad saith, I pray thee, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the man did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. And they said, Thy brother Benhadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Benhadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up into the chariot. And Benhadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from thy father I will restore, and thou shalt make streets, or bazaars, or trading centers for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him, and sent him away. Ahab let Benhadad go free, contrary to the will of the Lord. 1 Kings 20:35-43. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor in the word of the Lord, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused to smite him. Then said he unto him, Because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. Then he found another man, and said, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man smote him, so that in smiting he wounded him. So the prophet departed, and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face, or in Hebrew, a headband over his eyes. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king, and he said, Thy servant went out into the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside, and brought a man unto me, and said, Keep this man, if by any means he is missing, then shall thy life be for his life, or else thou shalt pay a talent of silver. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said unto him, So shall thy judgment be. Thyself has decided it. And he hasted, and took the ashes, or in Hebrew the headband over his eyes, away from his face, And the king of Israel discerned him that he was of the prophets. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Samaria. In this encounter with the prophet of the Lord, Ahab unwittingly pronounced his own doom. The prophecy was fulfilled in the next battle with the Syrians. That was his reward for failing to slay Ben-Hadad, as the Lord had commanded. 1 Kings 21. Ahab desires the vineyard of Naboth. 1 Kings 21, 1-4. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will get thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or, if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased, because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread. Ahab's offer to buy Naboth's vineyard may seem fair at first glance, but Naboth could not sell. His land had been inherited from his forefathers, and the law of Moses did not permit the sale of one's inheritance, except in cases of extreme destitution, and then it would be sold or mortgaged only until the time of Jubilee, when it would be reclaimed. Ahab wished to acquire the land permanently, hence Naboth's reply, The Lord forbid it me. Ahab's tantrum over being refused gives an insight into the character of Ahab. The king owned 10/12 of the land of Israel already, but he was miserable because he could not get everything he wanted. Jezebel arranges for false witnesses, and Naboth is stoned for blasphemy. 1 Kings 21, 5-24. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles, who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city, and stoned him with stones, that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass that Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. Elijah prophesies that Ahab and Jezebel and their house will be destroyed. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahiah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dog shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. These verses also show how Ahab's wife Jezebel arranged her husband's affairs without hindrance of any sort. The phrase sons of Belial was a catch-all term that applied to almost any evil persons, liars, thieves, murderers. Notice how the punishment pronounced on Ahab and Jezebel matched their character. 1 Kings 21, 25-29. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly, or dejectedly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou that Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. Because of Ahab's wicked life, the Lord prophesied that he would lose his posterity. Verses 27-29 show the relationship between repentance and the consequences of sin. Because Ahab repented, the evil was delayed until Ahab's son was king. 1 Kings 22. Jehoshaphat of Judah and Ahab of Israel joined forces against Syria. 1 Kings 22, 1-4. And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth and Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses. The friendship between Ahab, king of Israel, and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, may have developed because Jehoram, Jehoshaphat's son, had married Ahab's daughter, Athaliah. This friendship did not please the Lord, and Jehoshaphat was severely rebuked for encouraging it. 1 Kings 22, 5-12. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah sat each on his throne, having put on their robes in a void place, or in Hebrew, the threshing floor, in the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah made him horns of iron. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, With these shalt thou push the Syrians, until thou have consumed them. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead, and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the king's hand. Ahab's prophets foretell success. 1 Kings 22, 13-14. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak. Micaiah foretells the defeat and death of Ahab. 1 Kings 22:15. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper. The Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. Ahab and Jehoshaphat were considering whether they should combine to fight against the Syrians. Ahab's false prophets or counselors said yes, but Micaiah, a prophet of God, said no. The words of Micaiah in verse 15, Go and prosper, were said with great sarcasm. It is as though Micaiah said, All your false prophets have predicted success. You want me to do the same, so I will. Go and prosper. This was said scornfully to let King Ahab know that it was contrary to Micaiah's true advice. Hence the king's response in verse 16. 1 Kings 22:16-24. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth the Spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning me. But Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah went near, and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? The Lord does not place a lying spirit in anyone. As Clark explained, the Hebrew expression means that the Lord hath permitted or suffered a lying spirit to influence thy prophets. Is it requisite, again, to remind the reader that the Scriptures repeatedly represent God as doing what in the course of his providence he only permits or suffers to be done? Nothing can be done in heaven, in earth, or hell, but either by his immediate energy or permission. This is the reason why the Scriptures speak as above. The account recorded in 1 Kings 22 is also found in 2 Chronicles 18. The Joseph Smith translation of 2 Chronicles 18:20-22 clarifies that the Lord found a lying spirit among Ahab's prophets, rather than put a lying spirit in them. 2 Chronicles 18. Then there came out a lying spirit and stood before them, and he said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, Thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. For all these have sinned against me. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath found a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil against thee. Ahab's false prophets persuaded Ahab to go to battle against the Syrians, despite Micaiah's prophecy that Israel would be defeated, and Ahab would die in battle. Ahab went into battle in disguise, but was still killed. 1 Kings 22:25-28. And Micaiah said, Behold, thou shalt see in this day, when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah, and carry him back unto Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, Thus saith the king, Put this fellow in the prison, and feed him with bread of affliction, and with water of affliction, until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, If thou return at all in peace, the Lord hath not spoken by me. And he said, Hearken, O people, every one of you. Ahab is slain, and dogs lick up his blood. 1 Kings 22:29-34. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself, and enter into the battle. But put thou on thy robes, And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had rule over his chariot, saying, Fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariot saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, Surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him, and Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness, on Hebrew, between the armor and the breastplate. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, Turn thine hand, and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. An ancient warrior was covered with armor. To kill him, an arrow had to pass through the spaces where one piece of armor joined another. 1 Kings 22:35-40. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up or propped up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even, and the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, Every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died, and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood, and they washed his armor, according unto the word of the Lord which he spake. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. Jehoshaphat reigns in righteousness in Judah. 1 Kings 22:41-50. And Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 40th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, daughter of Silhi. And he walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, and his might that he showed, and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the remnant of the Sodomites, or cultic male prostitutes, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land. There was then no king in Edom, a deputy was king. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they went not, for the ships were broken at Ezion Geber. Then said Ahaziah the son of Ahab unto Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with thy servants in the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. Ahaziah reigns in Israel and serves Baal. 1 Kings 22:51-53. Ahaziah the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria, the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and reigned 2 years over Israel. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. For he served Baal and worshipped him, and provoked to anger the Lord God of Israel according to all that his father had done. This section's reading concerned 2 prophets, Elijah and Micaiah, whose counsel Ahab disliked. Even though Jehoshaphat did not like the counsel he and Ahab received, Ahab still did not want to seek advice from Micaiah, for Micaiah refused to flatter him. Because Ahab did not like what any of the prophets had to say about him, he persecuted them. Now, however, Elijah is honored by people the world over, Jew, Christian, and Muslim, as one of history's greatest prophets. Is it easier to believe a dead prophet because his counsel applies more directly to another time? Elder Bruce McConkie said, It seems easy to believe in the prophets who have passed on, and to suppose that we believe and follow the counsel they gave under different circumstances and to other people. But the great test that confronts us, as in every age when the Lord has a people on earth, is whether we will give heed to the words of his living oracles and follow the counsel and direction they give for our day and time. We be Abraham's children, the Jews said to Job. we shall follow our father, inherit his trove. But from Jesus our Lord came the striking rebuke, Ye are children of him, whom ye list to obey. Were ye Abraham's seed, ye would walk in his path, and escape the strong chains of the father of wrath. We have Moses the seer, and the prophets of old. All their words we shall treasure as silver and gold. But from Jesus our Lord came the sobering voice, If to Moses ye turn, then give heed to his word. Only then can ye hope for rewards of great worth. For he spake of my coming and labors on earth. We have Peter and Paul in their steps let us trod. So religionists say, As thy worship thy God. But speaks he who is Lord of the living and dead, in the hands of those prophets, those teachers and seers, who abide in your day, have I given the keys. Unto them ye must turn, the eternal to please. Sometimes modern saints fall into the same traps as did ancient Israel. Have you heard people extol the teachings of Joseph Smith but murmur and criticize current church leaders for a statement or a stand they take that contradicts the individual's personal ideas or preference? Do we say we honor the prophets and yet not follow their instructions from the last General Conference? Some who read the Old Testament have a tendency to shake their heads sorrowfully over those proud and rebellious people. But the great value of our studying this work is that it provides a clear standard for measuring our own behavior. Do you remember the exchange between Ahab and Elijah at the end of the 3-year drought? Ahab asked the prophet, Art thou he that troubleth Israel? And Elijah replied, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, and that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord. It was the wickedness of Israel that created the chaos and calamity. In some cases, the Lord intervened to punish directly. In others, he simply let the laws he gave the world run their course. Elijah knew what he prophesied only because he was the one chosen to reveal it. You would think that idolatry could lead people to break as many other laws as it did in Elijah's day. It is easy to look back and see how foolish Ahab, Jezebel, and the Israelites who halted between two options were. But what of today? Are men still inclined to vacillate between serving God and serving the devil? Do they still want to hear only good things about their evil choices? Do they still tend to place the blame for life's reversals on someone else? Or will they learn the eternal fact that men reap precisely what they sow? For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth in the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Elder Brewster McConkie said that the great need in the world today is not for the Lord to send a prophet to reveal his mind and will. He has done that. We have a prophet. We are guided by many men who have the spirit of inspiration. The great need today is for men to have a listening ear and to give heed to the words that fall from the lips of those who wear the prophetic mantle.